BMW E46 engine cranks but does not start. The engine does not start due to the ignition key switch not working. How to fix the ignition key switch not working? BMW E46 ignition key switch on position. Now if you switch to start the engine, see that the engine cranks but does not start. Now I switch off the ignition key. Besides, the engine cranks but does not start. First check if the car battery 12 voltage is correct. Fuses and relays. Fuel pump pressure, ignition coil working or not. Make sure to change if there are any problems. How to check, however, 2 videos have been uploaded on this channel. Please take a look. Video link given in description box. Thanks. Some symptoms of a bad ignition switch are the vehicle running condition and the airbag light will be on. And when the front right side sun visor glass cover is opened, the car radio turns off. When the glass cover is off, the radio will turn on, the steering wheel switch button will not work. The ABS light will turn on, the engine will slow down, etc. BMW E46 engine not starting is caused by ignition switch. How to open the ignition switch? To open the socket of the ignition switch wire, hold the lock of the socket with your hand and lift it upwards and open the socket. Now I will open the ignition switch and bring it out. How to open the ignition switch? To open the ignition switch, first unlock the steering wheel and look under the ignition switch to lock the ignition switch with 2 screws. Now open the screws on both sides with a small screwdriver and loosen them to open the ignition switch. Loosen the 2 screws and hold the ignition switch with your hand and pull it out. This is the most obvious sign of a faulty ignition system. If you turn the car key in the ignition and the car cranks but doesn't start, there may be an ignition problem. I will try changing the old ignition switch. Now replace this damaged ignition switch. Another ignition switch will be installed. Be sure to seat the ignition switch properly when installing. Once the ignition switch is in place, lock the ignition switch in place by installing the 2 lower screws. Once the 2 screws are tightened, install the ignition switch wire socket. Once the cable socket was installed, I pushed the socket lock down and locked it. Changed the ignition switch. Now I will start the car engine and see if it starts or not. Ignition switch on position. Inshallah, see that the engine of the car has started. Now there is no problem. Thank you very much for watching the whole video. Heartfelt greetings and congratulations from this channel SCS Automotive. I said goodbye in the name of Allah.